However, I am interested to see how this is the first time that they've had this game where Penn State really hasn't mattered in the national conversation. And the whole reason why, one of the reasons why this game was put at this point in the schedule is because we thought this was basically not going to be maybe a playoff eliminating game, but like this is going to decide who goes.
It's going to matter. They were both going to be undefeated.
Yeah,
right,
and,
exactly.
And I think like I am interested to see how Fox meets or reacts to that experience. I think people should be prepared for a rehashing of the whole James Franklin thing because this is a new audience that gets to hear that, so to speak, because the Peacock gang kind of only had that themselves and that was it. I think you're going to hear that. I think you're in Big Noon Kickoff. You are going to spend probably a considerable amount of time. Half of it will be spent on whether or not Urban Meyer is going to coach the football team next year, and the other half is going to be on who is going to coach actually going to coach Penn State next season. I think that's going to be a factor. I think other than that, like, it's not to say that this could turn into like the home broadcast quickly, but it could turn into, like, to your point, yes, like the Buckeye Noon Kickoff experience.
Let me pile on one more thing who on that Big Noon Kickoff crew, whose opinions do you think, do you care about or think have a chance of being accurate in terms of speculation about who a new coach would be for a team?
Based on some of the things Urban Meyer has said, like in his like whatever podcast he's doing, and I've seen some clips on, and knowing what, again, local versus national type thing, knowing what we know, and I say that like we, the larger Penn State fan base, he feels slightly out of touch. And I then think about Brady Quinn being on that set. And honestly, if it's going to be anyone, it's going to be that guy because he's at least got LeVar in LeVar's ear, right? Like, because of his show. I don't think, I really don't think anybody else on that desk is going to give me any insight. I do think particularly the thing that BTN does with Urban Meyer, with Jerry DiNardo, where they sit down and they explain a couple plays throughout the week. That is, to me, that is what Urban Meyer should be there for. I do not need Urban Meyer to be Paul Feinbaum, right? Like I need him to be Urban Meyer, the guy that's won multiple national championships, and executionally, here's how he went and did that. So to your point, I actually think it would be Brady Quinn because of just his relationship with LeVar. But I don't think any of them are going to be any better than the conversation that happened with James Franklin on game day in terms of knowing the full lay of the current land, the way you or I or anybody that's been reading Penn State's media beat knows the lay of the land in the current situation. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I'm following up.
That's
sorry.
Fine. You always have.
Has Urban Meyer ever publicly on this show or any place acknowledged that he was in a hair's breadth of becoming the guy here?
That's a good question. Like, I don't know.
Because this would be a good time to say, hey, back in 2011,
yeah,
like it was really close, and here's what I knew about the program, and here's what I got my sense of the that would be helpful. A decade old, but still interesting.
Yes,
decade plus old. I just don't think that that's going to happen, but I think that's the one card they could pull out of the box where he would say, yeah, okay, it's almost a decade and a half later. Yeah,
you can tell the story.
It was right, that kind of thing.
That's interesting. I hadn't considered or thought about that. That's a good point because that's actually very interesting for him to say that.
I mean, the players have changed. I mean, literally the players and the players who are in power have changed, but it was still context that nobody else has.
Yeah. I just hope that he doesn't do here's what I don't like about what he's been doing related to like in those podcast interviews or podcasts that he's doing is like this, like, lack of better way of saying it. Like, he is no different than the guy sitting at the Elks Club that we always talk about. Mm-hmm. Like, and he said multiple things like that where it's like, thinking about this in the context of like all of the hot boards and all of everything else coming out, I genuinely right now trust all but every beat writer on Penn State's beat and only one national writer when it comes to Penn State in terms of the coaching stuff. And it's Pete Thamel, who is from the Boston area, who is allegedly boys with Pat Kraft, and they know each other and have a relationship. So like, if you were a betting man, so to speak, besides him breaking the Franklin story of him firing,
along with that break, right?
Like, this is going to be the guy who breaks it if nobody local can get there first. And so I don't know that I need that, but I would be interested to hear, hey, Herb, if the scandal wouldn't have happened at Penn State, what would you have done? What was your game plan going in? Why was this job so attractive to you?
Right. What makes this job interesting? Right. Yeah, exactly.